Round 6 of Super Rugby is here. There's 7 games this week with the Jaguars being on a bye. The video might be a little bit different for the next couple of weeks. I don't have access to my computer that I usually use, and my editing is limited because South Africa is going through a time which is called load shedding. If you don't know what it is, if you're a foreigner, it's basically a time where you can live for about 2 hours a day or a couple of times a day for 2 hours in the Stone Ages without electricity, and you can't edit anything. It's not very good for a YouTube channel, but I'm doing what I can. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do join the Superbru pools. It's in the description below. And yeah, let's get into the games. Okay, the first game is the Blues versus the Highlanders. The Blues have only won one of their games, while the Highlanders have won 2 out of 4. The Blues are resting a lot of their All Blacks. I don't know the reason behind that. Either it's part of the All Black resting policy, or they're marking this game as one that they don't think they'll win, so they rest their best team for another game. But the Highlanders are playing their best team with the 2 Smiths, Ben and Aaron, and Frizzell all playing in the game. The Blues have selected Plummer as their number 10. I think it's a bit of a mistake. Black is playing a lot better. His kicking isn't excellent, but it's a lot better than Plummer. I think Plummer has the worst kicking percentage in the whole competition. Whereas the Highlanders selected Banks as their number 10, which is also strange because they've selected this season usually Gatland or Ioane, with Banks being their sub, but in this game they went for Banks, so I think the Highlanders have a bit of a stronger team with all those All Blacks playing, so I think the Highlanders will win by 7. There are 2 players of this game that made it to the fantasy team for the week. Okay, then it's the Hurricanes versus the Stormers on Saturday. The Stormers have won 3 out of 4. The Hurricanes have been playing really well this season, but they are resting 3 All Blacks. Laumape, Coles and Paranara, who are key players in their attack. Which is very dangerous for the Hurricanes. So they do lose a little bit of an edge there. But the 2 Barrett brothers, Bowden at 10 and Geordie at 12, has looked very dangerous when they do that, or they did that in the past. The Stormers have been basing their year's performances on defense. They said that's what they want to concentrate on because that's what they were good in a couple of years ago. They were the best defending side in the competition. But last week we saw how good they can actually be when they take the ball and attack with it. They have a very dangerous back line, but traditionally the Stormers are poor at travelling, so I think the Hurricanes will win this one by 9. Then we move over to the Waratahs versus the Crusaders. The Waratahs have been shifting their backline the whole season, but I think they have their best combo now. The one that's always been working, with Beal on 12 and Falau at 15. That's where both of them play their best rugby, I feel. But they've only had 2 out of 4 wins this season, whereas the Crusaders have been the best team in Super Rugby this year. They are undefeated, and those outside backs of them always score. Especially George Bridge, he's a danger man in that team. The Crusaders, I think, are going to win by 12. Let's have a look at the players I've selected for the fantasy team for the week. Then we move over to the Sunwolves versus the Lions. This is one of the most difficult ones for me to call this week. I've backed the Sunwolves twice now, and both times they lost that game. But they look like winning in every single game. Even last week they led most of the game and they just lost there at the end. Whereas the Lions have had a poor season. Even though their record is 3 out of 5, I think it does more justice to them than their actual performances. They were close to losing against the Rebels last week, but they had a very good performance in that second half. Can that second half performance spark something within the team again to show them or to remind them of what they could actually do with the ball if they play their attacking brand of rugby? That's why I think it can be difficult. I think it's going to be a very close affair with the score going up and down, each team getting a turn to lead. But I think let's do it again. I'm going to back the Sunwolves again by 3. But there's no changes on the fantasy team from this game. Then it's the Bulls versus the Chiefs. The Bulls have won 3 out of 4 games this season, and the Chiefs haven't won any of their 5 games. The latest game they played was the Hurricanes, and they drew that game when Mackenzie was playing at 15 and the team looked a lot better. He's playing on 15 again this week, so maybe that's a little bit better for them, but they are traveling to South Africa, and New Zealand teams usually get a win or 2 in South Africa, but they more often than not struggle. The Chiefs have been looking like the poorest New Zealand team this season, arguably with the Blues, and the Bulls have looked like one of the best teams of South Africa, or actually the best team. The experience of Brits and Vermeulen, I think it's invaluable to that team. You can't compare them to how they played before they had that experience in their pack. Guys like Speckman as well, he is bringing all his experience over from the 7th side, even though this is his debut season in Super Rugby, and he's looking very dangerous there on the outside. Therefore, I think because the Chiefs are traveling over to Pretoria, I think the Bulls are going to win by 12. I made a couple of changes to my fantasy team. Let's have a look. Okay, as you can see, the fantasy team is full after that game. Then it's the Sharks versus the Rebels. The Sharks have won 2 out of 4 games. And the Rebels have been looking really great this season. They played really well in that first half versus the Lions, but poor discipline in the second half did cost them. The centers, Meeks and English, are really combining well. I think they're one of the key factors. The Rebels are gelling well and playing well as a team. And I think they would really want to win after they lost last week after leading I think it was 28-5 at halftime. But the Sharks are playing at home, that is where they're at their best. They look dangerous at times, but sometimes they just lack good decision making. They don't make the best decisions and the other team capitalize on it. But the Sharks aren't playing at 100% yet. They're not at their best yet. Maybe they're going to get it this week after having that bye last week. I think the Rebels could win the game, but I'm going with the Sharks for this one by 3. In the last game for the week on Sunday, it is the Reds versus the Brumbies. The Reds are looking a lot better this season than previous seasons. The Brumbies won 2 out of 5 games this season, one against the Chiefs and one against the Waratahs, but they're now in Queensland. But yeah, it's also a very difficult one to call. I think if the Reds put everything together and really work on using that backline more, they could win this one. But Lealifano is having one of the best seasons of his life. Therefore, I think the Brumbies will win by 7. Okay guys, like I said, sorry if this video is a little bit different than other ones. I do make a couple of mistakes like this, but I I have limited time to edit my videos, so I can't really retake or cut out sections that are wrong. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Go like the Facebook page and join the Superbru pools, which is in the description below. See you for the review next week. Cheers.